Welcome back to Ottawa Experts, everyone, where we're continuing our conversation on adding light to the world and just adding a sprinkling of more joy and more consciousness by following our innate abilities and honoring that authentic voice inside of us that calls us to do what it is that we absolutely most dream about and what we love to do. And I want to pick up the conversation that we had, speaking a little bit about what it is that influenced your the way that you see the world and the way that you do. And I know that both of you are pilgrims. Obviously, that's where I met you, as a pilgrim, and that you've both kind of gone on these kinds of quests to better understand yourselves. Camila, I know you just came back from one yourself. Do you want to tell me about your latest pilgrimage?
Yes, this is, it's kind of funny. Well, I'm always laughing. But you know, I didn't know that what I was doing was a pilgrimage until I started posting on Facebook. And yourself said, this is a wonderful pilgrimage that you are doing. And I said, oh my God, she's right. And I didn't realize that what I was doing, because I was in Avila and only searching for spiritual understanding, closing a circle, right? Because I had been in Avila 6 years ago, or 5 years ago, doing all the research for the novel that I wrote with Teresa of Avila. And there I was again, closing that circle that went from doing the research, learning, understanding, practicing the teachings, and all the way, I mean, writing, going through a very difficult time because I was inspired in the character that inspired my novel is a person I love very much, and she passed away. So going through all that, and now back to Avila. And I felt like, wow, I'm closing a part of my life. I'm closing this circle. And interesting enough, while I was in Avila, I didn't go to any museum again. Neither did I go to any church. All I did in Avila was to walk. Was to walk and to visit the Center of Interpretation of Mysticism. That is a place that I have in my heart. I love that center, and love the people, and just love walking inside that place.
So for you, it was a moment of closure, to take something that had happened, and this was something that kind of continues to influence, you know, what you do in your life. And Alberto, your pilgrimages?
My pilgrimage, you know, I consider myself an artist, a writer, but these are things that I do. But the root of what I love the most is the reason for that I think all we are here. In what I have learned to understand. And we are here to raise our consciousness.
Your consciousness or others?
Your consciousness.
First.
When you raise your consciousness, you help to raise the consciousness of others.
What I think.
Then a pilgrimage. When I went to pilgrimage, I didn't bring stuff to draw or to make arts. I was a year with you, and I didn't draw, I didn't make arts. Then for me, the art in that moment was a secondary thing. Because the more important was the self-discovery quest where I was, you know, to go to the unknown, to overcome my fears, to test what I believed, you know, to go to new countries, to know new people, to see. I believe that with really our mind affect the reality, questions like that. I believe that really I am not alone, that there is something greater than me that is guiding me, and to put to the test all that, and to know what finally I am, what is really happening here. I want to go beyond of what I know, and that helped me, and that journey helped me really, because I really compromised, committed to it, you know. But at that time, well, the art that I did was my writing, but was specifically to remember the anecdotes of the thing that happened, and to analyze later, you know. But that was the first thing. And that is the principal purpose for my art too, and to enjoy it, because follow your bliss. That is one of the best advice that you can.
Talk
that
about
you can have.
following your bliss and following your calling and finding that authentic voice. But how do you find it? How do you know that it is your authentic voice that is speaking to you and wanting to be expressed, and not just a fear or just some random thought or idea that has entered your mind? Because I think many people struggle with that. You know, what is my authentic voice? What is it that at the deepest core of me wants to express itself? How do you tap in? How do you hear that?
It feels good.
It feels good.
It feels good.
That's great.
It's
How I
uh,
recognize
It's as simple as that.
It's
eh?
as simple as that. Maybe
feel truth.
I can give you an example that will unite pilgrimages and art and, and everything. But when I was in Chile in March, I went there to do some research for my novel.
Yes.
And my novel, part of one of the characters is an artist that is painting, and part of the painting represents the Chilean national flower.
Okay.
So that's another story. You invite me another day. That in order to really understand the way that artists work, I ended up taking art lessons, but that's another story. The thing is that I go to Chile,
Yes.
and doing this research, and I am in the garden of the house where I was living at that time. And the person that works at the house, in Chile we have maids that work in most houses. So she was watering the plants. And we were talking, and somehow I told her, you know what? Oh, she said that she was native.
Oh yes.
She said that she was native, and that she was going to go to the southern part of Chile.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? I am writing a story with this flower that is the copihue, copihue, that I have never seen. I mean, I have seen it, I have touched it, but when they cut it and I put it as a centerpiece, but I have never really seen it in the natural environment.
Yes.
And she said to me, well, I'm going to the south, and tomorrow.
Oh. Okay.
Do you want to come with me?
Yes.
And that felt like this is what I have to do. But the fear part, at the place where she was going is a place that was under siege, and it was the police was there because there were a lot of protests. So when I told the people around what I was doing, they said, you must be crazy.
Right.
Right? Don't go because you'll get in trouble. And I knew that I wouldn't. I knew that I wouldn't. And it was such a security and that I said, no, everything is fine. So I went, and I arrived at the place where I was supposed to meet them. And these two native women, they're waiting for me there. I went in their jeep. We just went up the mountains, up the mountains, up the mountains. We arrived to a lake. We went to the lake, and we asked the lake to receive us and to support us and to protect us. And after that, we started just walking, and the flowers everywhere, copihues everywhere.
Wow.
I had no problem whatsoever. I spent 3 days without sleeping because to get there, it is like 10 hours. I don't know. I forgot. I mean, if you tell me that is 1 hour, I said, yeah, sure, I believe you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic story. You know, we're coming up to the last 5 minutes of the show, if you can believe it. I know. But I do want to ask this question because I think a lot of people who struggle with artistic expression go through this, which is, how do you stay loyal to that authentic voice? How do you stay loyal to that calling inside of you and to yourself as an artist and as a writer? How do you honor that and not allow yourself to be distracted?
I will say that it's a thing of learning to trust in yourself,
Yes.
to trust in life,
Yes.
to trust in that vision that is raising in you, in that love that we are talking here, and to trust to recognize it, that voice, to recognize that you are trying to bring to the world, you are trying to do is good, and that honor yourself, and to honor yourself for to want to bring that.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a thing of trust, to little by little to can see, and the more that you trust and you try, the more that you can see how things work.
Yes.
But you need to get still, you need to overcome the challenge, you need to confront your fear little by little and to go inside that and continue looking.
Because a lot of people, I think people who have these abilities will say, but maybe I'll just draw something that will make me some money. You know, I'll just do something that'll make me some money, even though it's not really honoring who I am.
Right.
And I'll just do this because it'll sell. I'll do a piece of art because it will sell. Not that there's anything wrong with that by any stretch of the imagination. And that because we know people who little by little, in just doing that, have lost touch with that voice that has inspired them in the first place. And so how would you tell people to deal with that? Do you have any advice for them?
I don't know, it's understandable.
Yeah.
To be patient with yourself, and maybe sometimes you need to do some work that you don't really, it's not to press yourself so much, and but it's little by little to trust more and more.
And to pour love into what you're doing
Exactly.
anyways. Not to forget that.
Because
Yeah.
it's not you don't enjoy life, or you don't enjoy what you are doing.
Yes.
If you don't do what you love and you don't love what you do,
Yeah.
it's going to be a very grey, ugly life.
It'll be a challenging one.
I don't know if you think the same.
Yes.
I agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, believe it or not, there are only 2 minutes left.
Oh my goodness.
In the show, and so I want to start wrapping it up a little bit in terms of if you have any reflections or any thoughts that you would like to leave for our audience. There are a lot of young people too that are watching the show as well, who I know have dreams, who I know have passions, and they want to listen to that voice and they want to express it. What would you say to them?
Start moving the wheel of life. If you want to do something, first step, next step, and just move the wheel of life.
You don't have to have it all figured out.
Exactly.
No.
Because I think a lot of people stop
That's a good
the
point.
wheel because they can't see where it's going to lead them, and so they don't take that first step, and they end up being not just paralyzed. They don't take any steps at all, and they go deeper and deeper into what it is that they don't like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that is a good point, because
Yeah.
to trust in yourself doesn't mean that you trust that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
It's to trust in yourself that in the appropriate moment you will know. You know, you will have the wisdom, little by little you will have that you are going to need.
Yeah.
Follow your heart, do that you love, committed, and what you need will be coming, including the wisdom and the knowledge that you need to have at that appropriate moment.
And that's huge, for people to believe that, you don't have to have all the answers and everything figured out right now. Just know that you will have the wisdom, and you will have the knowledge, and you will have everything that you need in the moment that you need it. We just don't trust, as you said, and we don't believe. We don't believe in ourselves, and we don't believe in our abilities.
And for me, help a lot to trust too that there is a higher wisdom there for all of us, inside of us, outside, everywhere. That when you open yourself to receive, you will receive too from there.
Yes.
We are not alone. It's not only our brain and the circumstance. There is much more.
Yes. And your final thoughts as we kind of end this show for our audience?
I will come back to do what you love.
Do what you love.
And love what you do.
And love what you do. I
What
think
you
those
do.
are
That I think is
the
very-
best, some of the best words coming out of this. Thank you all so much. I so appreciate you coming onto the show and sharing your
Oh, it's a
wisdom.
pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching Ottawa Experts, and good night.